Hello everybody, that Kamen Rider guy here, and today is a special video that's nearly 2 months in the making, and I apologize for that. So, this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while, and that I'm really excited about. So, today's video is Top 10 Kamen Rider Swords. But before we get into that, I'm going to explain some ground rules that I had to set for myself for this video. Rule number 1. The sword must have a primary function as a sword, which means gun swords, hammer swords, etc. are allowed, but if its primary function is not that of a sword, will not be on this list. Rule number 2. Only one sword per series. Otherwise, majority of this list would probably end up being Kamen Rider Saber because I really love all those swords. And the most important part to remember is that all the swords on this list are my personal opinions, which ones I really enjoy. And if you didn't see your favorite sword here from Kamen Rider, that's fine. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. Anyways, let's get into the video. Coming in at number 10 is the Gun Saber, or Kamen Rider Ghost Sword, if you prefer. What I love about this sword is the bulky design of it, and not just that, but also this sword is the most like a Devil May Cry sword I've seen in Kamen Rider, because not only does it have its standard double-edged form, it can be dual-wielded. It splits apart into two. It can become a staff. It can literally turn into a gun for when Ghost uses Billy the Kid. It's a very cool sword in terms of overall diverse weaponry you can use, and I just really like the design of it. And it's at number 10 because while I do like the design of it, I think that the others on this list beat it design-wise. At number 9, we have the Drag Saber. Yes, that's what it's called. The sword from Kamen Rider Ryuki, used by, obviously, Ryuki. It's a very simple saber design in terms of like a traditional like saber, but I love the little details, and my favorite detail is that it is actually the tail of Dragetter, the monster that Ryuki has a contract with, which, to be fair, that's where all of his weapons come from. But it's simple, elegant, it's nothing too fancy, it's a simple saber, and that's why it's at number 9. The Satan Saber, or Satan Saber if you prefer. It is by far the most elegant weapon in all of Kamen Rider, and one of my absolute favorites. From the sleek red blade to the imposing and just intimidating hilt with the spikes, it's a sword that was truly made for a king. And it's ironic because if you know about the story of Kamen Rider Black and the Creation King, story for another day. It's also one of the few swords that has gotten a full-scale model, one that I have myself, and if I wasn't away at the moment of recording this video, I would happily show pictures of on my shelf. But you can get the full-scale version. It's a great piece for collectors, or even if you're just a sword enthusiast. I mean, look at it. This thing is gorgeous. And the reason I have it at number 8 is because while it is a very good looking sword, it is just a sword at the end of the day. It doesn't have a lot of the other special features or abilities that the others on this list have. Like number 7. The Flame Saber from Kamen Rider Agito at number 7. This sword is a very simple but awesome design. I love the hilt, the red on the guard, and the lore behind this sword is that it cuts, or it burns as it cuts. And I think that's just really awesome, badass, and my favorite feature about it is actually the hilt, because it opens up like the horns on Agito's helmet. It's simple, but I love it for that, and it's very cool, and I can't imagine making a top 10 sword list without this one. The Gashrakan Breaker, or Gashrakan Sword if you prefer, is a very unique weapon. I think it's the only example throughout Kamen Rider of a weapon being both a sword and a hammer. We've had sword axes before, but I love this because of how unique it is. And let's be real, a top 10 list wouldn't really be complete without X8 in there somewhere. But yeah, I love the overall clunkiness of the hammer look, the A and B buttons on it from the video game aesthetic, and its overall uniqueness, because there hasn't been a sword like it since. The Zombie Breaker, wielded by Kamen Rider Buffa in Geats. So, for those who may have watched my channel for a little bit, I am a small Warhammer fan. I'm not an expert in any means. And, the chainsaw weapons are absolutely my favorite weapons in the entire setting, which is why this sword resonates with me so much, because it's a essentially double-edged chainsaw sword, and a cool fact about it that isn't necessarily ever discussed or even showed, you have to do a little bit of research for it, but that the more it cuts, the more poison damage it does. So in short, the Zombie Breaker is a perfect middle-of-the-road sword for me, and is why it sits at number 5. And now this next sword might surprise some people if they know which Kamen Rider is my favorite. The Wizard Sword Gun. Yes, that's its real name. So, this particular sword is one of many throughout Kamen Rider that is also referred to as a sword gun, where it has a sword form, changes to a gun form, and, back and forth. And this one is one of my personal favorites, not just because it's used by my favorite Kamen Rider, but because of the sleek blade design, the gimmick with the hand that is used on both the sword form and the gun form. And overall, it's just a very cool sword, and the thing that really elevates it above all the others is the sound it makes when it slashes something. Just listen. So satisfying. Alright, the next sword on this list is one I'm sure everyone who sees this video is familiar with, and some people are going to be mad that it's not the number 1. The Titan Sword from Kamen Rider Kuga. This is a legendary sword in Kamen Rider, and honestly, I'm not sure if there's anything I could say to emphasize just how amazing, badass, and awesome this sword is. Like, there just aren't enough adjectives. It's also a sword that has a complete selections gigantic of it, where they have the full scale, has extending actions, they have the rising form, it's got sound effects, voice lines, the whole shebang, and it's one of only a handful of swords that has gotten that treatment. And yeah, it's number 3 because there are 2 swords that, for me, outshine it, but not by a lot. I need to emphasize the Titan Sword is still one of the most goated swords in all of Kamen Rider. The Sword of Darkness from Kamen Rider Saber. And the wielder of this sword is a long and complicated story, but the Sword of Darkness, it is such a cool and badass sword with the serrated double sides, the face on the hilt of the Dragon Knight. It is just incredible. Purple's already a good color for badass things in Kamen Rider, Rogue, Kuga, Titan, etc. But this sword, I love it so much because of just intimidation factor alone. It is also, like the Titan sword, gotten a full-scale version. And yes, I have that as well, but unfortunately, because of the time recording, I'm not back home yet, so I can't use a picture of that. But I did do a video on it, so check that out if you get a chance. And I think the thing I love about this sword the most is it doesn't matter who is wielding it. Hello Kitty could be wielding it, and it would still be the most intimidating thing you've seen. Alright, we're almost at the number 1 spot and the end of this video, but before that, I want to do some honorable mentions. Just some swords that I still really like and think are cool, but for one reason or another, they didn't make it into the video. So here are 3 honorable mentions. And now for my number 1 favorite sword in all of Kamen Rider. The Muso Saber from Kamen Rider Gaim. So, unlike a lot of other swords on this list, this one is a bit more unique because, unlike majority of the others, this sword is not unique to Gaim. It's a sword that any of the other riders can use, and a lot of them, they get it with their lock seeds when they henshin. And this one is my favorite sword in all of Kamen Rider because it is the perfect gun sword. Just like I mentioned earlier with Wizard, gun swords are some of my favorite in Kamen Rider because it's usually a unique design, it's really clever, and it's a fun idea, combining guns and swords. But this one does it perfectly for me because you don't need to fold the blade to get to the gun form. It's all there in one. And my favorite feature, and I did look this up to confirm, it has unlimited ammunition. Once you run out, just pull the charging handle back, instant reload, and keep on blasting. And that is my top 10 favorite swords in Kamen Rider. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. And I also want to emphasize again that these swords are all my opinions, and I understand that a lot of people are going to have different opinions on which swords are their favorites. So, in the comments, let me know which sword is your favorite, or if you want, let me know your top 10 list. And anyways, I'll be working on some other videos, got some other stuff going, and I apologize that this video took so long to make. I'm also working on personal stuff in life. I should be back in Japan very soon if all goes well, but we'll see how that goes. But anyways, again, let me know in the comments which sword's your favorite in Kamen Rider and which one in this list you would like to add to your personal collection. That's all I got for now. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and please share the videos. It helps me out so much. And remember, it's always Henshin Time.